And welcome back, everyone, to the Christian Patriot Report. And as you can see, for those of you that are actually watching the show on our Rumble account, you'll see that I made a little wardrobe change for this next segment, because I want to send a message to those of you that are Trump supporters, those of you that have been called MAGA supporters, those of you that I see making comments on Ron DeSantis's social media posts and attacking DeSantis, spreading lies, saying how he's not a viable candidate, that he can't beat Donald Trump. Because here's the thing. If I just simply wore what I was wearing, which was a New York Mets cap, and wore the shirt that I was wearing, you would look at me and go, well, you are not a Trump supporter. And I could actually see your comments now in the video and on social media saying, you're not a true Trump supporter. No, I am. Or should I say, I was. I remember when Donald Trump ran for president in 2016. I didn't think he was going to do it. But I got behind him because I liked what he was saying. And I voted for him, and he won in 2016. Now, I watched Donald Trump as president of the United States in his first 4 years as president. He did make some things, or did some things that I didn't like. I thought he spent way too much money. But the other problems that I had is how he handled the COVID-19 pandemic. By shutting down the economy and by causing, or should I say categorizing, the working class people of America into two categories, essential personnel and non-essential personnel, he disenfranchised the non-essential personnel people in America. But I also see that since he lost the 2020 election, how he's been conducting himself since then, or should I say his campaign. You see, it's been over a month that Donald Trump has viciously attacked one candidate. Time and time again, he has been running ads against one candidate. And that candidate isn't Joe Biden. Instead, it was Ron DeSantis, who at that point hadn't announced that he was running for president of the United States. But that didn't stop Donald Trump or his campaign from running ads like this.
As we wait for an expected announcement this week that Governor Ron DeSantis is running for president, his chief critic is blasting him in a new political ad. Former President Donald Trump claims the governor wants to raise your taxes. We get the facts from Western News political reporter Greg Fox.
On this sales tax had a plan to make you pay more. With the sales tax here, sales tax there, here a tax, everywhere a sales tax.
This is the latest ad from the super PAC backing Republican former president and current candidate Donald Trump. It's channeling that 300-year-old folk song, Old MacDonald Had a Farm, to spin a yarn about Trump's favorite political foe, Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
In Congress, Ron DeSantis backed a national sales tax, a 23% tax hike on almost everything you buy, from the gas station to the grocery store.
You'll pay more here,
Or there,
here you'll pay, everyone will pay more.
Let's get the facts. It's a fact that DeSantis backed a 23% national sales tax. The ad is referring to House Resolution 25, the fair tax. Yes, records show DeSantis was a co-sponsor of the bill that would have created a 23% national sales tax. But is the ad telling the whole story? On the meter, we'll call that false. This is the same claim that was used by DeSantis' primary opponent, Adam Putnam, in the 2018 governor's race. Like Trump's new ad, the 2018 commercial failed to point out that the fair tax would also eliminate all federal taxes, including income taxes, death and capital gains taxes, and payroll taxes. College and university tuition would be excluded from the tax, as well as the purchases of stock and capital investments. Existing homes purchased before the fair tax is enacted could be sold tax-free, as well as used vehicles. So, not everyone will pay more.
90% of families would get a tax hike if DeSantis replaced the current system.
On that final claim about DeSantis, we'll call that a whole lot of political spin. It references a Money magazine article in January on a Brookings Institution analysis that found in one scenario, the bottom 90% of earners would see a tax hike. But it also said, based on consumption level and not by income, the bottom two-thirds would see a tax break, and the top third would pay more overall. This much is also a fact. DeSantis' support for a tax overhaul that's failed in Congress for the last 16 years is guaranteed to be a target for his opponents if he runs for president. With Get the Facts, I'm Greg Fox.
The Donald Trump campaign even ran what I like to call the great pudding ad. And he ran it in places like Florida. And he ran this ad on a continuing loop. Time and time again. I have friends from Florida who were telling me they were constantly seeing this ad. Check this out.
The super PAC aligned with Trump's presidential campaign has released a new ad that goes after Governor Ron DeSantis over entitlements, although it might be a little bit more memorable for reenacting an allegation of one way that supposedly Mr. DeSantis once ate pudding when apparently there was no spoon to be found. Take a look.
DeSantis has his dirty fingers all over senior entitlements, like cutting Medicare, slashing Social Security, even raising our retirement age. Tell Ron DeSantis to keep his pudding fingers off our money. Oh, and somebody get this man a spoon.
Very memorable.
It was an ad obviously meant to invoke disgust. And
it is disgusting, that ad.
But at the same time, the positions that the ad is putting forward about no cuts to Medicare and Social Security look far more similar to, positions that the President Biden just a few weeks ago was defending and saying we will not cut Medicare and Social Security. So it's an interesting contrast, but certainly very creative.
But it's also interesting.
Of course, by now you know that Ron DeSantis has since announced that he's running for president of the United States. And the moment he did, other Donald Trump supporters, like the former candidate of governor of Arizona, Carly Lake, started to viciously attack Ron DeSantis, saying things like this. Check this out.
Okay, this is really cool. Let's bring in Carrie Lake to weigh in on the state of the media as the 2024 race enters a new phase, aside from one of the most popular GOP figures in America. That woman right there, Carrie Lake herself, was a famous news broadcaster in Arizona. She's also rumored to be on the short list for President Trump's vice president on that ticket. Carrie, really good to have you on. So this whole media thing, we have the NAACP saying, don't go to Florida because DeSantis is terrible to minorities, and then the ladies of The View saying Tim Scott doesn't know what it's like to be a black man in America. The media's lost their collective mind, have they not?
Yeah. They're living on planet crazy, and I don't frankly want to be on that same planet with them because they've lost their minds. They'll say anything. It shows you how desperate they are. They're just completely desperate right now.
Let me ask you this, Carrie, if I may. And, this kind of shocked me. Maybe I'm missing something, and I really do. And Trump is brilliant. He works the media to perfection. But this whole idea of the fight that is going on down here in Florida between Governor DeSantis and Disney, I mean, it represents so much for conservatives. I mean, they love what DeSantis is doing, kind of muting Disney a little bit against all their woke nonsense. And Trump somehow kind of got behind Disney a little bit on that. Do you think it's something that maybe he should, I don't know, move a little bit in favor of against Disney and in favor of DeSantis? Or am I missing something?
Well, Eric, I believe that fighting woke is a worthy cause. Absolutely. There are a few things more important, honestly, than stopping the radical indoctrination and, frankly, the sexual mutilation of our children. But we can't do it half-assed. When you pick a fight with Disney, you need to play to win. And so far, Governor DeSantis has been outworked and outmaneuvered by Disney. As far as I know, Reedy Creek still exists. They're still hosting trans events at their park. This indoctrination is continuing, and they're actually rubbing it in the faces of American families. You know, if you can't beat Donald Duck, how are you going to beat Donald Trump? I think that's the question we have to ask when it comes to Governor DeSantis. And I think he should stay in Florida and continue fighting for the people there and try to finish that fight. I'd rather see President Trump, who's a deal maker who can make things happen, take on woke corporations. And I know for a fact he gets results.
Now, I understand that what she's trying to do is trying to become the next vice president of the United States. But she's completely wrong. Ron DeSantis beat Disney. He took it to Disney. So don't spread the lie. And those of you that are on Ron DeSantis' social media posts, you're posting the same lie, saying that Disney beat DeSantis. No, it's the other way around. Just check out the headlines. Disney pulls plug on $1 billion development. You want to know why? Because Ron DeSantis took away Disney's advantage in Florida. You see, Disney, for decades, were getting special treatment from the state of Florida. At the same time, Disney would be pushing their left-wing ideology in the public schools of Florida. And Ron DeSantis decided enough's enough. And he pulled those special advantages that Disney, and only Disney, was getting. Now, DeSantis won this battle against Disney. So not only could he show that he could take on a juggernaut like Disney, but he can also take on a juggernaut like Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump's record as President of the United States isn't a great one like he would love for you to believe. You see, the way Donald Trump handled the COVID-19 pandemic is what cost him the 2020 election. As much as those of you that are MAGA supporters, part of the MAGA cult, as much as you'd like to say that that election was stolen, and maybe you have some evidence to produce in order to prove that maybe the election was stolen, but when you put the working class people of America into two categories, essential and non-essential, and you disenfranchise the non-essential personnel, what did you think was going to happen? You see, Ron DeSantis during this time did not shut down his economy. Florida's economy has never suffered because of the COVID-19 virus. Now, I hear Donald Trump is also bringing up the amount of people that died because of COVID-19 and saying that those deaths are on Ron DeSantis' hands. And then also saying things like, well, he didn't do as well as the governor of Florida and the governor of New York Andrew Cuomo did. That actually Cuomo handled the COVID-19 pandemic better than DeSantis did. Trump, you are delusional if you believe that. And those of you that are MAGA supporters that believe that, you're delusional as well. I lived in the state of New York. I know what Governor Cuomo did. And I can tell you, he killed more old people, more senior citizens died under Governor Cuomo because of the decisions that Cuomo made. He put senior citizens in the nursing homes, and he caused those people to die. So don't tell me that Governor Cuomo did a better job in dealing with the COVID-19 virus. If that's the lie you're spreading, Donald Trump and the Trump campaign, then that should tell you that you really don't know the facts. You don't know anything. All you're willing to do is say whatever you need to say in order to get votes. And those of you that are MAGA supporters, Trump supporters, that believe that lie, what other lies that Donald Trump is spreading that you're going to believe? Don't be blind. I understand that you like and support Donald Trump, but don't bow down and worship Donald Trump. Don't do that. Wake up and realize that Donald Trump made some mistakes as President of the United States. But they're not the only person attacking Ron DeSantis. Marjorie Taylor Greene is also attacking Ron DeSantis. Check this out.
You don't announce that you're running for president of the United States in some kind of little Twitter world. It's not a real world. Twitter is not real. So I can't comprehend why that would be the place to do the announcement. It makes no sense to me. And it's not serious.
It's not serious. This is why it shows you he's dropped his people's way to measure him. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you could take issue with how Ron DeSantis, or should I say Governor DeSantis, may have announced that he was running for president of the United States, and you may take issue with how he did it on Twitter. And obviously, Twitter fumbled the ball on this. But let's face it, Twitter is a social media platform that reaches millions of people. It's just what they were trying to do wasn't ready for prime time. But to attack Ron DeSantis for that, that's what you're going to do and be so vicious about it? Really? It seems to me that a lot of you Republicans, politicians, need to remember who the real enemy is. It's not Ron DeSantis. That's not your enemy. The enemy are the Democrats. The enemy is President Joe Biden. The enemy is Vice President Kamala Harris. The real enemy is whoever wins the Republican nomination for President of the United States. The enemy is whoever the Democrat nominee is. So Republicans, Trump supporters, MAGA supporters, stop attacking the other Republicans. Because here's the thing that you're also showing. Do you notice that Donald Trump and the Trump campaign is only attacking one candidate for President of the United States? Are they attacking Nikki Haley? No. Tim Scott? No. You're only attacking Ron DeSantis because you can try to belittle and you can try to say and spread lies to try to hurt Ron DeSantis. But that just shows me, and look, I am a Trump supporter. I supported Donald Trump in the 2016 and the 2020 election. But because Donald Trump is acting like a spoiled little brat, or should I say the people that are running his campaign are acting like that, I'm not going to support you for President of the United States in 2024. Not in the Republican primary. But by attacking Ron DeSantis, it just shows me that you fear him. You fear Governor DeSantis, and you should. Because I don't care what the polls say. Governor Ron DeSantis has a brilliant record that he can run on as governor of Florida. And he's saying a lot of things that you, Donald Trump, are not saying. All you're doing, Donald Trump, in the Trump campaign, is you're saying what you're going to run on. But you know what? Everything that you're running on were things that you could have done when you were first president of the United States. You're running against the grooming and the LGBTQ agenda, which in the first term as president of the United States, did you do anything to address that? Because that was going on from the time you were president in your first term. Did you do anything to address it? No, you didn't. Ron DeSantis did. You may also say that you created Ron DeSantis. You may have endorsed him, and you may have helped him become governor of Florida. But since then, you've done nothing. You cannot say that you made Ron DeSantis. In the 4 years that he's been governor of Florida, he has made himself. And he has done that by the decisions he's made as the governor of Florida. Time and time again, in those 4 years, Governor DeSantis made the right decision when it came to his state. Did you? My biggest issue with Donald Trump, and I'll go back to it, is how you handled the COVID-19 pandemic. How you shut down the economy. How you took the American workers in this country and you told them that one is essential and the next one is non-essential. Another issue that I have with Donald Trump is you said in the CNN town hall meeting that abortion is negotiable. That by ending so-called Roe v. Wade, you say that pro-choice, pro-life people and pro-life supporters now have something to negotiate on. Life and the life of an unborn child is not negotiable. You said it yourself. And I understand you're saying that your stance on abortion is the same as President Reagan. But I'm telling you that your stance on abortion is weak. Because if you truly believe that abortions are perfectly fine in this country, as long as you are trying to save the mother's life, or maybe there's a birth defect of that child, like Down syndrome, that now that gives the authorization to kill that child. You're on the wrong side of history. Life is not negotiable, and those lives are not negotiable. And Ron DeSantis' stance on abortion is stronger than yours. As a matter of fact, Governor DeSantis' stance on many of the issues are stronger than yours. So maybe you should stop trying to attack Ron DeSantis and focus on who the real enemy is in this country. The man that beat you in the 2020 election. The man who stayed in his basement and campaigned from his basement and beat you in the general election. Because that man, President Joe Biden, is running for President of the United States. And he's continuing. He took what you created, what it took you 4 years to create, Donald Trump, and in 1 year, he destroyed it. So how strong did you really make the economy? Much like you said you were going to build a wall, and you were going to get Mexico to pay for it. Last time I checked, they haven't paid a penny, regardless of the lies that you spread. So I think those of you that are Trump supporters, MAGA supporters, wake the hell up, grow up, and stop bowing down to the altar that is Donald Trump. He is not your God. He's just a man. And he has made many mistakes as President of the United States. And if you can continue to attack all the other candidates running for President of the United States, but you continue to attack just one, and his name is Governor Ron DeSantis, all it really shows me is that in the general election, you're setting yourself up to lose. Because the real enemy is President Joe Biden. Keep him in your crosshairs, and maybe, if you do somehow win the Republican nomination for President of the United States, maybe then you'll be able to go on and beat him in a landslide victory, because it should be, in the general election. If you would like to watch full episodes of the Christian Patriot Report, go check out our Rumble channel. The link to that channel is in the description below.